กราบนมัสการ
Ajahn.
สวัสดีครับ
How are you, everybody?
Good, thank you for joining.
How is my voice? Okay.
Sounds really great. We have quite the international group. We have people from Canada, USA, Brazil, Spain, France.
Finland.
Quite a lot of you. How many of you?
So there's 39 people on the call.
Oh wow. So we have a lot. We have a lot to cover. So shall we start with the first question?
Sure, yeah. So I think Tan Atolo is also here from Sri Lanka. So he has a question. We'll have him start.
Respectful greetings, Ajahn. My apologies, my first time using this device.
Before we start, hang on. Before we start, can I record this meeting?
Oh, sure.
Please allow my.
Actually, I think we've already started recording, so we'll send it.
You'll send it to me, so I can post it on the Facebook page.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, Ajahn. My name is Atulo Bhikkhu, and it's actually nighttime where I am, and I'm kind of near a forest, so I can't do the video so well. But was hoping to ask a question about Asubha Kamatana. So often we'll just kind of go through the different parts of the body and try to imagine them, and then sometimes kind of seeing other people trying to visualize those parts, discussing parts first, and then the bulk of the time we'll spend doing that. But then also we'll maybe do some Maranasati, and then the cemetery contemplations, and tend to do kind of something similar every time. And so just a few questions around that. One was, does one have to kind of try to approach it from a different angle every single time? And another one was, is the proportion of time kind of okay? Like, is it most of the time I spend on the 32 parts, just kind of going through them over and over again? And the third question was, is there any kind of, I imagine there's many ways to contemplate Asubha. I was wondering if Tan Ajahn could offer any suggestions on alternative methods or alternative approaches to the ones that I've been trying.
Well, I think each individual practitioner has to find his method. And which method works, that's what you stick to. Namely, to get rid of your sexual desire. So whichever way you look, so that it will stop your sexual desire from arising, or stop it after it has a reason. Then that's a method that is appropriate for you. You want the result, so you have to choose which one is practical for you. Some people look at the bones, look at the skeleton, and they can get rid of their sexual desire. Some people have to look at the corpse. Some people have to look at the internal organs of the body, such as the heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, and intestines, so forth, in order to get rid of the sexual desire. So these are the various methods that each individual practitioner will have to search the one that is suitable, the one that is useful, that is beneficial, that does the job of eliminating the sexual desire. Okay? I forgot about the other questions. Do I sort of cover all your questions? Hunter, Joe? Can you hear me? Okay. No sound. Can you hear me, wherever you are?
Oh,
right
I
now?
think he muted his microphone.
So, okay.
Oh, my apologies. I didn't know what I was doing there. Yeah, you covered all the questions pretty much, Prajan. The only, was wondering, the only other one that I think you also covered and touched on was various alternative approaches, but it sounds like it's pretty individual and just have to try to find what works, if I understood correctly.
Yes, like there's a story, you probably have heard it. One monk has problem with his sexual desire. And then it just happened that there was a famous prostitute, very beautiful prostitute, who happened to die. And the Buddha told this monk to go and look at her corpse, to the funeral, and look at her corpse. And after having looked at the corpse of the beautiful prostitute, he could overcome his sexual desire and became enlightened on that level, on the third level, I think, anagami. So it just sometimes it just take trial and error. Okay.
Yes, thank you very much, Prajan.
Okay. Next question. Who's the moderator? Anita. Okay.
Let's see. Well, I guess I had a question about, so before you ordained as a monk, you had a period of time where you practiced at home. And I was just wondering what your schedule was like and how you approached meditating at home, because I'm trying to make more use of the opportunity to meditate at home now in isolation. So.
Well, I devoted all my time for the practice, following the four foundation of mindfulness. This instructs me to be mindful of my body, the movement of my body, from the time I get up. As soon as I want to get up from my bed, I have to be mindful of that. And when I stand, when I walk, to go to the bathroom, to do whatever I have to do, I have to be constantly mindful of my action. This is the basic practice that I have to maintain all day long, from the time I get up to the time I go to sleep.
Mm.
And while I'm doing my work, my chores, like eating, doing whatever, cleaning up my place, I have to be constantly focused on these activities. And when I have nothing else to do, I usually read Dhamma books sometimes. I have some books from, I think you might have heard the book called The Heart of Meditation.
The Heart of Meditation?
Yeah, I think it's by the Venerable Yannasangwararam from Sri Lanka.
Oh, okay.
I got some books from Sri Lanka in those days. And he wrote a book called The Heart of Meditation. So I learned a few techniques from reading books. And then I also devote my time to sitting. And sometimes, if I'm not sitting, I keep walking in the house. I have enough space to walk in the house. While I walk, I always try to maintain mindfulness. And sometimes I use contemplating usually on my body first. That is the impermanent nature of the body that is subjected to aging, sickness, and death. And that is not me, it's anatta. It's just the composition of the four elements. And it's something that I cannot control. I cannot tell it not to get old, get sick, or die. So I have to learn to accept this reality, this truth. If I can accept it, then my mind feels peaceful. But if I resist, my mind will become stressful. So this is basically what I've been trying to do the first year when I was practicing on my own. And half the time I have to fight against my mindlessness because I'm not always mindful. When I'm not mindful, I start to think about the good times I used to have, going out, to sightseeing, to whatever, just to enjoy my sensual pleasure. Then I have to tell myself that this is like an addiction. taking a cigarette, smoking a cigarette, or drinking a beer. You enjoy it just briefly, but then you become addicted. And when you cannot do it, then you become sad or restless, unhappy. So this I've tried to remind myself to stop my mind from going after my sensual gratification. So this is basically what I've been doing for 1 year, and I had some some victories and have some losses. Sometimes I lost and I have to go out. Sometimes I go out. But after I came back, I said, what did I get? Just a brief moment of pleasure. But now I have to lock myself up in the cage again. So it's better just to lock it up all the time. So this is what I've been fighting. And as I progress on my meditation, as my mindfulness becomes stronger, as my meditation becomes better, I can sit longer and calmer. I find my desire, my cravings become less. So they become manageable. Until I was confident that I can become a monk. So after my 1 year period, I gave myself 1 year period as a trial, see whether I can go on with this kind of life, this my new way of life, meditative life. If I could, then I will become a monk. If I couldn't, then I'll probably go back and work, or maybe if I wanted to go back to the States, I might go and study more, get my master's degree or whatever, and then be a worldly person. But I was fortunate to be able to get myself into the meditative life. And I was confident enough to take up the road. So I became a monk about a month and a half after my 1 year period has ended. So basically, this is what I did. I don't want to spend too much time on myself right now because there are so many people waiting to ask questions.
Thank you.
But if you like it, I don't mind. But let's try something else for now.
Sure.
If somebody has a question.
Okay, let's see. Does anyone else have a question? What?
กราบนมัสการค่ะท่านอาจารย์ at this time during the coronavirus period we can get the virus anytime. How could a lay person can mentally prepare for death?
The best way is to accept it that you probably are gonna get it, because once you accept that, then you don't have to worry anymore. But if you're still betting on that you're not getting it, then you will always be worrying, will I be getting it or not? So mentally you have to choose the right alternative. And the right alternative for peace, to make your mind peaceful and calm, is to accept it. Okay, I'm gonna get it. Okay, I might die. If you can accept this, then your mind will not be fighting against it. See? Your mind will be peaceful and calm and prepare for the eventuality. But if you still betting on not getting sick, then you will always be constantly worrying. And you will always worry whatever when you're getting near people, whether they have the virus or not. When you touch something, you're gonna become worried all the time. To the point where you might become crazy before you die. So it's not worth it. So it's better to be peaceful and calm and rational by accept the reality. Because if you don't catch this virus, there's gonna be some other thing waiting for you around the corner. We cannot avoid or escape getting sick and die. So this is basically what we should be training our mind to do, is to accept this reality and learn how to to face this reality. And the way to face this reality is to meditate to the point where your mind can become neutral, which we call equanimity. If you have equanimity, then your mind will not react to anything. It will just be merely acknowledging, and it will not suffer when you get sick or you die. So it's better to prepare your mind to face the eventuality than trying to figure ways out of how to avoid getting sick or avoid getting dead, because it's not possible. In the end, you're gonna get sick and you're gonna die, but you're gonna suffer mentally because your mind will always be stressful and worrying. But if you take the other choice, okay, I know this is what the way it's gonna work. I'll get sick and I'll die. If not by this virus, it will be by something else. Maybe heart disease, maybe diabetes, maybe hypertension. There are so many diseases waiting for us, and no one can escape it. So it's better to accept this reality and then prepare your mind to accept it. And the way to do it is to calm it, to keep it calm and be not reactive. Right now we react, and usually we react with craving, desire, which cause stress in our mind, suffering in our mind. But if we can somehow train the mind to not react and just to merely acknowledge the truth, then the mind will not be hurt. The mind will be peaceful and calm all the time until the time of death. All right? Okay. Next question. Anybody? Okay, I see Robert line.
Robert.
Do you have a question, Robert? I see you moving your hand to the screen. I'm not sure what for. Oh, you have another question?
Oh, I think Anna from Brazil has a question.
Okay, go ahead, Anna.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, Tanajan. We've been reading the Therigatha's poems here for some inspiration, and it just feels sometimes, most of the times, that enlightenment was the easiest thing to do. So I was wondering if would it have any explanation for being such a hard thing for us nowadays? Would it be like a difference between us and them? Or like, are we far behind in spiritual levels, or could you
I think this
share with us and reflect?
This varies from individual. Some people are far away from spirituality, so for them to become enlightened is quite difficult. There are people who are closer to spiritual reality, so for them it will be more easier for them to access enlightenment. This is depend on your birth. Sometimes if you happen to be born in a Buddhist country, like all the Ajahns in Thailand, they were born in a Buddhist country with the tradition that every male has to become a monk, at least for a certain period of time. Or if you're young as a boy and if your family cannot afford to send you to school, they send you to the temple to study instead. So this gives you a chance to be near the teaching of the Buddha. And you also have monks who are highly advanced in their practice, giving guidance. So the environment that you were born in can be a factor that either impede or support your path to enlightenment. That's why we have so many Ajahn, enlightened Ajahn in Thailand. Because Thailand has many temples and has many monks who practice the Dhamma. So this part of the factor is but it's not always mean that you're gonna become enlightened if you're born in Thailand. Because there are many Thais who are looking away from Thailand, looking away from the spirituality, and they look toward materialism. They look to advance in the economy, in making them rich and acquiring all the material things. There are many Thais like that, and they don't understand, they don't know anything about Buddhism. What Buddhism they know about is merely ritual. If on their birthday they give food to the monk and ask the monk to chant something to bless them. And that's all they understand about Buddhism. Many Thais don't study. I think more Westerners who are exposed to Buddhism, they are exposed to the core, to the fundamental of Buddhism, which is the teaching. You know more about Buddhism than most Thai do in Thailand. Most Thai, they don't study. They just copy the West. They want to follow the West. They want to advance in the material thing. It's only those Thai who been to the West and then realize that material thing is not the answer, like me. So after I came back, I started to look toward the spirituality. So I started reading books and new books on Buddhism. That's when I learned about Buddhism. Even though I was born in Thailand, I never knew anything about Buddhism before that. Because I was copying the West, I have to go to school, go to college, so I can have a degree and then I can get a good job and make lots of money and be happy. But that just didn't turn out that way. I find I was more frustrated, I was more stressful going after the material thing. And so I started to come back and look at my mind and look how I feel. And then when I started reading about Buddhism, then I learned how to make myself happy without having to have anything. All I have to do is to be able to control my mind, to make my mind calm and peaceful. So that's when I start to learn to meditate. And when I start to meditate, I start to experience some peace of mind although not much, but I notice the difference. When I'm not meditating and when I'm meditating, it's like two persons. When I'm not meditating, my mind is like a monkey running all around the place, worrying about this thing or that thing. But when I meditate, then the mind becomes calmer and my worries start to disappear. So I start to receive the benefit from meditation. So then I said, why don't I meditate more? So then I said, if I want to meditate more, I have to stop working. So I look at the money I have and I calculate the amount of money and say, maybe I can, not working for 1 year, I have enough money to feed, to live on just on the basic, just pay for the food and rent. And I say, okay, then I want to devote my time to meditation rather than working. Because when I work, I became stressful. When I meditate, I became peaceful. So this is what happened to me. Okay? Does that answer your question more or less? Okay.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. One Pani? What Pani? She wants to ask another question. Or somebody else. Give somebody else, maybe. Okay.
Hi, Ajahn. I was just wondering, like, how important is variety in our meditation? Because I tend to like to pick one method and like just stick to that. But should I be applying more different ways of meditating, or is it okay to just stick to one thing and just put all your eggs in one basket in a sense?
I think not that the method isn't really that important. What's really important is your ability to develop mindfulness. Because once you have mindfulness, you can use any method, and it will. I think the method is secondary. The the principle or the main thing that you need to have is mindfulness. Once you have mindfulness, you can use any method. So try to maintain mindfulness, meaning being aware of the present, not letting your mind running around like a monkey. Bring it back to the present. You can use a mantra. Just one method of developing mindfulness, of bringing your mind back to the present, is to recite a mantra. When you start to think about the past or the future, you have to bring it back. The second method, which the method I use mainly, is to focus on my body, on whatever I do. Keep watching my body, every movement of my body. Then this can bring my mind back to the present and to be aware of the present. Once I have this mindfulness, then I practice anapanasati, using the breath when I meditate. All I have to do is just watch the breath at the tip of the nose. Just be aware of the breath. You don't have to manage the breath, control the breath. Just watch the breath. The mind is the watcher. You want to stop the mind from thinking, so you have to force it to watch something. Force it to watch the breath. And if it keeps concentrating on watching the breath, then the thought will slowly disappear. And eventually the mind will the thought will become still. There will be no thought. Then you'll find peace and happiness and equanimity at that time. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
So what's important is really mindfulness, developing mindfulness, sati. Be mindful at all times. Be here and now. Don't let your mind drift into the past, drift into the future, or think about something unnecessary. Try to stop yourself. Okay. Heidi,
Yes.
you have a question?
Yes, Namaskar, Tanajan. On behalf of my parents and I, just deepest gratitude to you. We've never had a chance to pay respects to you, to your monastery, but have held you in our heart for many years. We've gone to many other students in your lineage, so thank you so much for your assistance. Just any thoughts on when you think you've solved a problem and you've seen the answer, but you can't quite get yourself to follow through, or you can't, there are parts of the problem that there's some reason you can't quite finish through with what you think the answer is. So my thought is that there must be parts of the mind that know the answer, but then there are parts of the mind that still resist. So any thoughts on dealing with those issues? Thank you.
Yes, I think your mind, in the back of your mind, you know that whatever problem you solve, it's just a temporary, because there will be a new problem, or the same old problem might come back up again. Because this is the way things are in this world. They are not solvable. If you solve one problem, there will be a new problem coming up. Because everything moves around and everything is changing all the time. You might be able to solve this problem, then this problem will change and begin to become a new problem again. Like when you fix your car, when you drive your car. Okay, you have a flat tire, you fix your flat tire. And then the next thing you know, you have something else wrong with your car. So everything in this world is under the law of impermanence. So you could never expect to be able to solve all the problems in this world. So it's better to learn how to live with problems and fix only what you have to fix. Don't try to fix everything. Then what you need to fix is your mind, not everything else. Once you know how to fix your mind, then your mind can let go of everything. Then everything you can solve it if you like to. You can leave it alone. It doesn't matter. Because once your mind is fixed, your mind will be always happy, regardless of whatever problem might arise. Your mind can deal with every problem that way. So better try to fix your mind by the practice of samatha bhavana and vipassana bhavana. This is the method to fix your mind. Once your mind is fixed, then you don't need to go fix anything. You let everything be. This is the way the world is. It has been like this before you are here. It's going to be like this after you leave the world. So the problem in this world is never ending. But if you have to just fix the things that you have to in order to continue on your life. If you get sick, go to the hospital. Monks go to hospital. Even Ajahn, enlightened Ajahn, they go to hospital. But they know that it's just a temporary fix.
Yes.
That they don't expect any permanent fix. There are no permanent fix in this world. Okay?
Thank you.
We have 42 people. What happened to the other 42 people, 41 people? Anybody wants to say anything? So just go ahead. What have you? Okay.
JC?
Stacy and Amy. If Stacy and Amy want to say something.
Hello, Paul Suchart.
Hi. Okay, Amy from San Francisco.
Hi.
Where are you? Are you in San Francisco or are you in San Francisco? Quite early for you. Quite early for you.
No, not to. JC didn't have a chance to pay respect to you last time, so he wanted to say hello. I have a question, Paul. My question is on Sitter's practice, Nisa Chit. May I have your thoughts on it? Is it similar to what you say about fasting, which is some people's body tends to fast better than other people, or is it more to counter a certain type of kilesa? So just in general, what you think about Nisa Chit?
Nisa Chit means to maintain the three postures: standing, walking, and sitting, but not lying down. Because when you lie down, you tend to go to sleep, and you tend to sleep a lot. So for those who feel that they don't have much time, so they try to use this method to take as much time they can and not allowing it to be used by the defilements. The defilement like to go to sleep. So this is one of the means of countering the defilement. The defilement use the excuse, oh, your body is weak, you need to sleep. But you tend to sleep more than what the body needs. So some people, then if they don't make a resolution to use this free posture, then they sometimes end up sleeping more than they have to. So they use this method to prevent them from sleeping too much. But you don't use this method all the time. Maybe from time to time, like maybe this week you use this sheet, you maintain the free posture for 3 days, for 5 days, or 7 days. It's like fasting. You don't fast all the time. When you feel strong and you want to push forward, sometimes when you use this method, it energizes your mind. push your mind to be able to go past the obstacle that prevent you from moving forward. But different people have different preferences. Long time Mahaprabhu said he never used the message. It was not suitable for him. He found he usually find fasting more suitable for him. So he did a lot of fasting. So this is just another tool that you can use to help you advance in your practice. Because if you live normally, you tend to be lazy and not pushing yourself hard. But when you force yourself to fast or force yourself to maintain this good posture, then you know you have no choice but to practice more. So you just have to find the right method for you. Some find walking meditation more useful, so they force themselves to walk for many hours at a time, 3 hours, 4 hours. Yeah. Just you have to use extreme measures in order to pass the obstacle. If you just use the normal measure that you usually get stuck. You won't have enough strength to pass through the obstacle.
Because I mean, to stay up late in the evening, my head tends to be really groggy and foggy, and already even normally when I'm awake, it's already hard to not to have the monkey mind. So I wonder, trying to determine, is this the right method for myself, or is this something not that I'm even doing it, but is this something I should try to aspire to, and what is the point for trying to get through? Because when you're so tired, it's really taking a lot of energy to just stay upright. And obviously, I'm not getting concentrated or anything like that.
It's a process of trial and error. You have to try it and find it for yourself whether it works for you or not. Okay. I never used this method. I used the fasting method. I find when I fast, I'm forced to meditate because my mind starts to hunger for food. So, but when I meditate, I can stop this mental hunger. And I found that the mental hunger is much more intense than the physical hunger. Once I can calm my mind, the mental hunger will disappear, and the physical hunger just doesn't bother me. So this is a good method, because if I normally eat, then I don't meditate as much. But when I'm not eating, I'm forced to meditate most of the time, because the mind keeps thinking about food. So I have to use mindfulness and meditation to stop it. Once I could stop it, then I forgot about food, and hunger just seemed to disappear. And the hunger of the body seemed to be something very not severe, tolerable. Let's put it that way. Okay.
Thank you, Longpa.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? If you want to say anything, just go ahead. Okay. Because I don't know how you decide what to do. Because I don't move my screen a lot, so I only see about 4 or 5 people up here.
Can I make a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Well, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Carla. I'm from Brasilia. And I feel really blessed to be with you all, and especially with you, Suchart, today. I think everybody in the world is going through interesting times. In Brazil, maybe a little bit more so because of the political situation. So when I received this invitation, I felt like it was quite blessed, because I was really struggling. So this is just kind of sort for an introduction. But I have kind of a recurring question, which is, I think I could say it has to do with motivation. Throughout the years I have been meditating, I have already experienced kind of an evolution in the way I can handle myself and my feelings and not be angered by an external situation and try to listen to people. So I really feel like it's a really important method and practice. But I still struggle with what happens next. And I asked lots of times Ajahn about this view. I feel a little bit kind of naive saying that, so please pardon me for that. But what is beyond? Because I kind of have to be motivated. What is there beyond? We will get through suffering, and we will suffer less, kind of gradually, and then we will kind of have lives that are a little bit more blessed, on and on. Is that what the path is about? So kind of sorry for that. I feel it's kind of a dumb question, but thank you so very much for being with us.
Okay, I think you have to have a roadmap. You have to look at a roadmap so that you know where you are and where you're going. Okay. And this you have to study the teaching of the Buddha, which I can more or less summarize it for you. And that is that you are composed of two parts, the body and the mind. The body is temporary. It exists for 80, 100 years, and then it will have to decompose and return to the four elements. The body is not you. You are the mind. The mind is the master. The mind is like a puppet master. While the body is the puppet, the mind is the one who tells the body what to do. The mind uses the body to go look for things to make it happy. The mind uses the five senses of the body, the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body, in order to be able to see, hear things, taste things, smell things, and touch things. And when it does that, it has some enjoyment from that experience. So the mind needs the body as an instrument, as a medium to carry out its desire. The mind has this innate desire to find happiness from the five senses, from the images, pictures that you see with your eyes, from the things you hear with your ears, from what you smell, from what you taste, and from what you touch. But the medium, which is the body, doesn't last forever. Eventually the body will have to die. But the mind doesn't die with the body. The mind then becomes a spirit that goes seek a new body. Because the mind still needs the body. The mind still have this desire to satisfy itself with the sensual gratification. So it will then eventually get a new body and start all over again. So this is basically what we are. We are the mind, not the body. And the Buddha discovered that in order to save your mind, you have to get rid of your desire. That's in the mind. The desire to have this gratification, sensual gratification. In order to do this, you have to meditate to calm your mind. If you could calm your mind, you'll find another kind of happiness. The happiness that arises from peace of mind. Once you have this, then you can negotiate, have your mind that let's change the method of having happiness. Instead of having happiness through the senses, it's better to have happiness by making the mind calm and happy. Okay? So this is why we have to meditate, to create another kind of happiness. The happiness that arises when your mind becomes calm and peaceful. But then this is the first step, because when you're calm, your desire stop working. But after you withdraw from your meditation, your desire start coming up again. So you need the next level of practice, which we call vipassana. Vipassana will teach the mind or tell the mind to look at the things that the mind go after, that they are impermanent. They can only give you temporary happiness. And when they no longer give you the happiness, they turn into suffering, or turn into sadness, or disappointment, or frustration, which means dukkha, or suffering, in translation as suffering, dukkha. You have to teach the mind to see everything that the mind goes after as being anicca, dukkha, anatta, not worth going after. The happiness that you think you're getting will eventually come to an end. And after it comes to an end, then suffering or sadness will replace it all the time. So it's better, once your mind knows the consequence of going after things, that eventually it will end up being disappointed, sad, or you know, unhappy. Then it will stop going after things. And it will then rely on making itself calm and peaceful, and experience the happiness that arises from this calm and peacefulness. Okay, do you understand so far? You want to ask anything further? Okay, I have somebody on the screen here, Dayani Tio.
Yeah.
Okay, here you are.
Ajahn. Yeah, my name is Dayani. I'm in Toronto, Canada. So I have this question about nimitta. Can you explain if nimitta is the doorway for samadhi and jhana? Thank you.
Nimittas, there are different kinds of nimitta, real nimittas and false nimittas. Like when you meditate, sometimes your mind will generate some images, or some sound, or some sort of a thing. These are not real. They are created by your mind. Your mind, when you sit and meditate, when you're not being mindful, the mind can play tricks on you. It can create images or sound, and if you don't know anything about it, you might start to speculate or start to imagine that it is this or that, which is not. This will be the images that most beginner practitioner experiences. But the real images that you can see in your mind, in your meditation, this come when your mind has first developed calm. After the mind has become calm, if you don't maintain mindfulness, for some mind, not every mind, it has the tendency to go and connect with other spiritual beings. And they come in images, like we are talking right now. And you meditate and you can see a spiritual being that come and then communicate with you. This is the way how the Buddha taught all the spiritual beings. He used this special ability, to connect to spiritual beings, or the ability to see the past and recollecting his past life, for instance. This all come under this special type of samadhi called upajjhara samadhi. See, there are three kinds of samadhi. The first samadhi is called khanika samadhi, which means calm but briefly. Khanika means briefly. Samadhi means calm or peace or concentrated mind. the mind, when you start to meditate, usually you first experience the Kanika type of samadhi. Your mind will become peaceful for briefly, and then it will withdraw from that state. But as you progress on your practice, you have stronger mindfulness, then the next time your mind can become peaceful, concentrated, and last longer. This is the second kind of samadhi we call appana samadhi, which is the fourth jhana. This is the fourth jhana. The first one is also the fourth jhana, but it only exists briefly. It's called Kanika samadhi. The second one is appana samadhi. It can stay long, maybe for hours. If you are more advanced in your practice, you can enter into this type of samadhi for hours. Like some of the yogi, they can enter into samadhi for days sometimes. And then we have this third type of samadhi, which go out and experience psychic power, psychic ability, the ability to recollect past life, the ability to read the mind of other people. Whatever you think, he knows what you're thinking about. The ability to connect to spiritual beings like devas. So these are the three types of samadhi. And the fourth one, the third one is the one that will experience the images. The first two types of samadhi will have nothing except emptiness and peace and happiness. But the samadhi for some beginners, this is just something that the mind generates when you are not mindful enough. And the mind might generate some images to fool you, to deceive you, to think that this is spiritual being or whatever.
Okay, thank you very much, Ajahn.
Okay. So be careful. In practice, we don't want to play with any of this nimitta. We want to go into emptiness, because that's where you have peace and happiness. If you play with nimittas, you can be deceived, and sometimes you can misinterpret these nimittas to be something which it is not. That's why some people can go crazy from the meditation practice, because they become misperceive. They misperceive what they see, to think that these things are something which is not.
Right.
So if you happen to run into any of these nimitta, it's better just to use mindfulness, like a mantra, to pull your mind back from those nimitta. Don't follow them. Okay. Treat them as any phenomena. They are anicca, dukkha, anatta. Don't play with them, because it can hurt you if you're not smart enough.
Thank you, Ajahn. So it means that just go back to the breathing.
That's right. Go back to the breathing, or you use a mantra. Come back to the mantra. Don't follow the images and the nimitta.
Okay.
They're useless. They can only be more harmful to you than useful to you in your beginning stages. But once you have advanced, once you have become enlightened, and if you have the ability to access the real nimitta, then you can use this for the benefit of other spiritual beings, like the Buddha. He taught the spiritual being Dhamma. He taught his mother. His mother passed away when he was born, 7 days after he was born. But after his enlightenment, he thought of his mother, and he wants to share the Dhamma with her. So he used his ability to connect to the spiritual being, and taught this Dhamma to her until she became a Sotapanna.
Right.
All right?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Bhante. Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you.
Okay, who else? We already have 54 minutes, coming to 55 minutes.
Ajahn.
Time passes by very quickly.
Hello, Tanajan. It's Aaron from close to Toronto, Canada. It's very nice to see you again.
We have met before.
We met. I spent a month at Wat Yan about 5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't recognize you.
I didn't have the facial hair then, so that could be the difference. Anyways, I've spent the last year and a half working with hospice care. So working with people that are dying. They're in their final months of life, final weeks of life. I have a couple questions related to this. The first one is, it's quite common here that we have people that, despite the fact that they know they have a terminal illness, they're often still in denial of death. And most of these people will have no meditation background, no awareness of Buddhist teachings. Do you have any advice on how best to try and help someone at this time?
It depends on them if they can accept the help or not. If they cannot accept the help, there's nothing you can do. You have to maybe see the level of help they can get. Maybe not the truth of Buddhism. Maybe it's too strong for them. Maybe just try to show kindness, showing metta, compassion, sort of make them feel that they have somebody around, just to make them not entirely abandoned or anything like that. Make them feel at least there's somebody they can put their sadness to. Sometimes when they feel like when they see you, they become happy. So maybe people of mine are like people. Some of them are like babies, and some of them like grown-ups. If they're grown up, then you can teach them the truth, tell them the truth that the body is not you. You're not the body. You're a spiritual being. You just happen to connect it to this body, and this body you're gonna have to give it up. Well, it's no big problem. You don't die with the body. But if you're talking to a baby, it won't understand you. So you just want to comfort the baby, give it comfort, give it some milk, or give it some candy to make it happy. So it depends on the person you're dealing with. You have to see how much they can handle the truth.
Okay. Thank you. And I have a second question that kind of goes along with this topic. I find sometimes when visiting someone that's dying, there can be a very, to me, what I interpret as a very heavy feeling in the air. People that are having a very difficult time with it. And I find that there's this really kind of heavy energy in the air. And what I learned over time is when I walk away from these situations, I feel like I leave with a residue of that energy. And sometimes I find it difficult to be able to free myself from that. It can take some time, or it can weigh down on me. Do you have any suggestion around this?
Yes, because your mind is not strong enough with mindfulness to detach your mind from the experience that it experiences. It's like somebody watching a movie and become immersed with the movie. So you become really like part of the movie. Even after you come out of the movie theater, you still might be crying. That's because when you watch something, you have no mindfulness to rein in your mind, not to get involved with what you see or hear. But with someone who practices mindfulness and wisdom, he knows he will not allow his mind to become immersed with whatever he sees or hears. He just merely sees or hears, but has no emotional involvement with what he sees or hears. So this is what you have to do. If you feel you're immersed, then you can distract your mind from this by reciting a mantra. Keep reciting a mantra. or just telling yourself the truth. You're just watching a movie. You're an audience. You're not the actor on the screen. You're not in the movie. You're just watching the movie. If you can do this, then you can extract your mind from the emotion of the experience that you are experiencing. Clear enough?
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Okay. The mind is not the body. The mind just uses the body to go here and there to do things. But once you forget this fact, you become the body. You become the actor in the movie instead of being an audience. But if you meditate, if you develop mindfulness, if you develop vipassana wisdom, then you can separate your mind from the body and from all the things that the body comes into contact with.
Thank you.
Okay. Somebody else?
I have a... Sorry, can
Okay.
you... I'm Naomi from Japan.
Right now I have a picture of somebody else.
Oh.
That was me.
Okay.
You can go ahead, Naomi. I'll ask after.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay, now you are here.
Okay.
Hi, how are you? Long time no see.
Yeah, fine, thank you. I have a question about walking meditation. Is it okay to alternate back and forth between walking and standing? So sometimes I'll walk and I recite Satta Virya Sati Samadhi Panya, and then at the end of my path I'll just stop and watch the breath for a minute and then turn around.
You can switch whatever you like. You can walk fast, walk slow. You can pause, stand up, and rest, and then just watch your breath instead of using a mantra. Sometimes you feel tired of reciting the mantra. You want to watch your breath. You can do that. So the goal is to stop yourself. So don't allow your mind to think. Try to empty your mind. Whichever method you can do that is okay. Okay.
You. I have one more question. When you think of other people who are suffering, but there's nothing you can do to help them, like because they're far away or there's just nothing you can do to help them, is it still sort of, people talk a lot about developing compassion, and I don't know if that's sort of the right thing to do at that time if there's nothing you can do to actually help them.
It depends on the situation. If you can help them, then you should. But you get to the point where you cannot help them, then you have to use equanimity, ubeka. See the four Brahma Vihara, you have to use them like it depends on the situation. Sometimes you have to smile, this is metta. Sometimes you have to give help, solaces to other people, then you use karuna or compassion. If someone just happened to become successful in something, you should congratulate them. But if somebody is sick and there's nothing you can do about it, then you just have to remain calm and not doing anything because there's nothing you can do. So it depends on the situation, what type of Brahma Vihara you should use. It depends on the situation. But always have metta and compassion if you can. But if you cannot, then you have to use equanimity. If not, you hurt your mind. You'll blame yourself. I'm not being compassionate. I'm not being nice. It's not. You try it, but there's nothing you can do. Then what can you do? Blaming yourself doesn't do anything good anyway. Right?
Does it actually help at all to do chanting for other people? People often do chanting when other people are sick.
This is ritual. But some people believe that then if the person wants you to chant for them and make them happy, you can chant for them. But this is just maybe a way of calming the mind. When you chant, they listen to your chanting, they forget about the problem. And the mind can become peaceful that way. But it's no magic. It's not a magic bullet in which you chant and then the person will get well or anything like that. But some people believe that. Sometimes they think that inviting monks to chant will somehow help cure their sickness. It doesn't work that way. Okay.
Thank you so much.
I heard your question that you send in regularly, right?
Hello.
This month. Okay, go ahead. This is your sister, right?
Good evening, Kanajan.
Okay.
I have a question regarding anatta, the not self. During the time when the sense of self is emphasized, the individuality and the actual self and the protection of self, how can we reflect on anatta? And how can be applied within the Four Noble Truths?
Well, anatta actually means that everything that exists that we know, there's no self in any of anything. They are all part of a natural process. They are nature. Your body is part of nature. But your mind is deluded and think that it is a person. It is an I. Actually, an I is in the mind, created by the mind itself. The mind thinks, therefore it becomes what it thinks. But it is not. Everything in this world that we live in are made from the five elements, really, or the sixth element: the earth element, the water element, the fire element, the wind element, the knowing element, which is the mind, and the sixth element is the space element. That's all they are in this whole entire physical and spiritual universe. There's no self in all of this, but it's only the mind that just deludes itself to its own delusion to create the concept of a person, of an I. So this is what you have to first learn. Then the next thing you have to do is to prove it. And the way to prove it is you have to meditate. Because when you meditate, when your mind becomes completely calm, then the I will disappear. Because the I is being created by the thought. You think, therefore you are. You think I am, therefore I am. But when you stop thinking, then there's no I am. All that is left in the meditation is knowing, So this is something that you have to prove it in your meditation, to prove it to yourself. But first you have to believe in the Buddha's teaching, that telling us that there is no self in anything, not in the body, not in anything, not in the mind itself. The mind is not a self either, but the mind created through its own thought, volition. The mind created out of its own imagination. Understand? How to understand? Because you've been constantly thinking, I am, all the time. See? So this I lingers in your mind. But if you can meditate and succeed in your meditation, when your mind become completely blank, completely still, then all concept will disappear. All that is left is just the real thing, which is the mind, the knowing element. Okay?
If we're going to take the same I and apply the Four Noble Truths, how can we do that?
See, the Four Noble Truths, you use it in the fourth, the path. the past you use the concept of anatta to correct your wrong concept of atta, of self. Anatta is yourself. Like what the body, for instance. You think the body is yourself. So you become attached to your body. And then you have this craving for this body to last forever. But the truth is the body will not last forever. And the body is not you. The body belongs to the four elements. If you contemplate or you investigate the nature of the body, you'll see that at the time of death, that will be the time when the four elements separate from each other. When you die, the first thing will separate from the body is the wind element. There will be no wind going in or out. There will be no wind going in, but it will coming out. Then the fire element will disappear from the body. The body becomes cold. Then the third element will come out of the body, which is the water element. And then eventually all that is left is the earth element, the solid part. That eventually will break down and become dust or earth. So this is what is the nature of the body. There's no I, no self. It's just the four elements. But the mind that is attached or connected to this body due to its own delusion. Like people in the past believe that the earth is flat, when the truth is not, right? But in ancient times, people think the earth is flat. It's the same way our mind thinks the body is us. It's me, it's I, it's myself. It's just a matter of thought. It's not reality. So you have to use this to teach your mind. Once you know that the body is not you, then you will then be willing to let go. Because you don't want to suffer with the body. Because if you don't let go, then you will have craving for the body to last, to not get sick, not get old or die. But if you know that the body is not you, and you know that the body will have to get old, get sick and die, then you just let it go. Then you will be free from suffering. This is the Four Noble Truths. The truth of suffering arises from your craving for the body to last forever, to not get old, get sick or die. When it happens, it makes you unhappy, it makes you sad. So if you use the path to teach you the truth, that the body is not you, the body will have to die. What you have to do is to leave it alone, let it be. Once you let go, let the body die, let the body, then you will not have any suffering. Like you're looking at other people's body, right? When you look at other people's body when they die, do you feel anything? You don't feel anything. Because you don't have this thought that to think that person is you. So you have to apply this to your body, that's all. The same thing that you apply to other people's body. Okay.
Hi, Bante, Tanajan.
Okay.
This is
Hi.
Robert from Washington, D.C. I was hearkening back to your first question. I guess, first of all, I met you in and again in 2018 when I was at Wat Yan. I was thinking about your successful practice, and I was wondering what we can do in terms of acquiring merit in this life so that we can have a successful practice like you someday. And I was wondering what you did in your previous actions to give you the blessings of having such a wonderful, successful practice.
Oh, you just have to keep practicing yourself. Practice makes perfect. And just like anything, riding a bicycle or driving a car or do anything, You just have to keep doing it. And the more you do it, the more proficient, the more, the more, ability for you to do it becomes greater. So just have to keep on practicing, that's all. Don't be discouraged. Don't stop. And just accept that maybe you're not made for it this lifetime, but at least you want to prepare yourself for the next lifetime. So do as much as you can. Try to force yourself, because if you don't force yourself, your defilement will prevent you from practicing. So maybe you might have to set up a certain regimen, a certain schedule in your life, your daily life. I'm going to practice this 1 hour a day, half an hour a day, 2 hours a day, or whatever. And stick to the schedule. And then try to increase it a little bit at a time. Try to lessen, try to stop your spending your time on doing other things. Try to take the time away from this activity and devote it to your meditation practice. Then you will move forward that way. There's no magic bullet, it's just a matter of pushing yourself, hard working, being resolute, don't give up. Okay. I remember you said you used to work for the Justice Department, right?
I work for the U.S. Treasury Department in Washington.
Treasury, yeah.
Yeah.
Treasury, I'm sorry. You gave me an iPad.
I'm taking a nice path, you said?
No, you gave me an iPad, right?
Oh, yes. I gave you an iPad. That's right. Do you still have one?
No, I gave them away already.
Oh, okay.
I'm using a laptop right now.
Oh.
Yeah, I recognize you. I remember your face now.
Oh.
Okay. So how's life for you right now? Okay?
In isolation. I live a few blocks from the White House. Politically, things aren't so good in Washington, D.C. We have the means to handle this crisis, but the political powers are a little bit discouraging right now. I'm in a small studio apartment downtown. I'm trying to practice as much as possible. I appreciate your words because I had enough good karma to take a year off and travel around the world and meditate for a year as an 8 preceptor. But I realized that because I had epilepsy, maybe this wasn't the lifetime to become a monk. So I went back to my lay life, and I'm just trying to do whatever I can to improve my karma so that I can practice as continuously as possible, whether it's later in life or whether it's next lifetime or what have you. But I'm trying to stay optimistic in these times and use them for internal reflection and practice as much as I can. But sometimes I struggle with discouragement, and the slowness of the practice. So I appreciate any kind words you have for that effect. I just lost my very dear mom, so it's actually been a motivation in my practice to have, not only my mom's death, but the death around us all right now and the suffering as an encouragement to continue practicing. Thank you.
Okay. Keep up your practice. However small or big, doesn't matter. As long as you keep pushing yourself, you're helping yourself that way. Okay. Okay, the next person. Suryani.
Yes, good evening, Ajahn. My name is Suryani. I'm from Toronto, Canada. Thank you for the opportunity to ask question in this session. My question is there a way we can measure the development of the wisdom in ourselves? Let's say from the way we think, the way we act verbally and bodily. Thank you, Ajahn.
Yes. Every time if you look at something and you think of impermanent, then you are then you're having wisdom. Anytime when you look at something and you say it's gonna hurt you, then that's wisdom. So this way it will prevent you from getting hurt when you see things ahead of time. But generally we are being deluded by seeing the good side of things, and we forget about the bad side. They come together, but the good side usually comes first, and then it turns ugly afterwards. So you can sort of flip the side around. Every time you see something good, think about the other side. Think about impermanence. Then it means you have wisdom. Because wisdom here is to prevent your mind from becoming entangled with things that will make you unhappy later on.
Okay. Thank you, Ajahn. Yeah.
39 people left right now.
Hello, Ajahn.
Yes, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you? Good to see you again.
Okay. Well, you been to Wat Yannasangwararam?
Yes, a couple times. Went 2 years ago with my brother actually too, but just for, I think we were only there one night. It was very hot and it was hard for him to stay. I'm also in Toronto, near Anita and near Aaron. Yeah, one question I have is regarding just the practice and understanding the different techniques. So the way I'm understanding it more is that mindfulness is the base of everything. You just being aware of what's happening and the different phenomena that we're observing and gaining wisdom from that and understanding how it fits to everything. But also in certain, like different techniques, say anapana, or we're observing our breath and trying to be more continuous in that process, but also reading the anapanasati, there's different ways of perceiving the breath. So understanding that, okay, my breath is very very soft or long, as well as I'm breathing in now, I'm breathing out. And this is something that helps to, keeping this in mind helps us to develop our continuity. It helps to keep the mind concentrated in this. Just thinking in terms of like effort, because sometimes my mind can wander a lot, and there's different, I think, defilements that come up that maybe are confusing me, that I'm, maybe it's not so pleasant to watch the breath for a long time. But if mindfulness is kind of my base of awareness, it's a bit easier to understand that it's not necessarily that my goal is to keep watching my breath. It's also just to be mindful of the situation in general, and then apply different techniques based on that situation. So one of them is observing the breath, but also being aware when the mind is distracted. And also in terms of practicing Vipassana, like what the goals are. Are we trying to move along, like move through the body, and in some ways if we are able to scan our body, we can move. I don't know if it's like shifting energy, but the things can become more subtle as we go through the gross reality, and we if we keep our mind, it kind of starts to dissolve some of these grosser realities. So it's kind of around just the overall efforts that we're making to maintain our awareness, and practicing these different tools and their to reach their conclusion or to develop more expertise in these methods.
Yes. What do you want me to say?
Well, yeah, if we're distracted, like if our mind wanders in say anapana, right, is the best way to handle that, to like we're aware of that and then we direct ourselves back to anapana, or sometimes I guess we're finding a different way to practice based on our situation. Is that right? If we're sleepy, we have to find different methods to maintain our mindfulness, and
yes, you have to switch around sometimes. If what you do is not working, then you have to try something else. If you're sitting and watching your breath and you find you're being constantly distracted, maybe you can use the mantra instead. Recite a mantra. If you find a mantra too boring, too repetitive, if you can recite a sutta, a discourse or something, or chanting, this will then more or less make your mind become concentrated and not distracted. And once you find the mind is concentrated enough, then you can come back to your breath again.
okay, and when we're watching our breath, we can follow, like, say, the instructions in the Anapanasati Sutta, or to watch the quality of the breath and just being focused on different aspects of the breath.
No, just knowing the different aspect of the breath, because when you sit, the breath will change. When you started, your breath seems to be a lot harder and shorter. But as your mind becomes calmer, your body becomes calmer, and the breath becomes softer and the breath becomes longer. So just watch and just be aware of the situation of the breath. There's no need to analyze the breath. There's no need to do anything mentally with the breath. Just watch, that's all. You only want to use the breath as an anchor, to anchor your mind, to prevent it from thinking about other things. That's all.
Right.
Yeah.
And if the breath is very soft, like maybe for a few seconds you're not breathing, you can just be aware of, say, the sensation there, and that's where you should be putting 100% of your focus.
You should still be at the breath. Just know that sometimes you cannot feel the breath. Just know it. That's all. Sometimes the breath may become soft and hardly be able to feel it. Just know it as it is. And try to watch your thought at that moment, seeing whether you're going to sing or not. If you start to sing, you start to talk to yourself, then you say, you have to stop that. The goal is to stop your thought by using you're watching your breath. But sometimes when your breath becomes so fine, you might not be able to see it. Then you just have to watch the thought instead. Watch whether you are thinking or not. If you're watching, then your thought cannot come up. But when you're not watching, sometimes your thought will sneak behind you and start thinking again. And sometimes you start to worry, where's my breath? I cannot feel the breath anymore. What am I supposed to do? You're already thinking, see? And you have to know that, and then you should stop thinking, and just know if there's nothing to feel or to know. Just stay with the emptiness. Know the emptiness. Stay with the emptiness. Know the emptiness instead. And right now my mind is blank. It's not thinking. There's no breath for me to watch. Okay, I'm just watching my blank mind instead. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Okay. Do we have any time limit as to how long we're gonna do this? We're about 1 hour and a half. 1:30. Are you boring? Are you bored? Or you want to?
No, we don't. We don't have any time limit.
What about another half an hour? 2 hours, I think it's a long time.
Thank you, Tanisha.
In the meantime, can I just have a 5-minute break? I want to go to the toilet.
Okay, sure.
You people can talk for a while without me, okay? I'll be right back.
Okay.
Anita, let's talk to Anita.
What's that?
Anita, when are you going back? So I guess you're stuck in Toronto?
Yes. Yeah. Hi, Amy. Nice to see you. We met in Thailand, right? When you were, yeah. Oh, that's so nice.
And Tan Kadar, is he well?
He's doing okay. I haven't heard from him in the past few months, so I'm not exactly sure, but yeah.
Okay.
Where is he?
I think last I heard he had come back to Toronto, but I don't know actually where he's staying right now.
But he's still on the ropes?
Yes, as far as I know, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. And you're both in, is it San Francisco or?
Yeah, we're just right outside San Francisco.
Oh, okay. How are things there?
Pretty good. I think the stay-at-home order for another month, but we're really enjoying it.
And we're lucky as meditators that we can like really benefit from being able to sit at home.
Yeah. In Toronto, how are you guys also stay-at-home order?
Stay at home, yeah. It's just essential services that are open, but we can still go outside and go walking, and there's no limit to that. So.
Wonderful. So thank you very much for organizing this, and I think it's you and Karen and Irfan, right? So we really appreciate it. It's such a blessing.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, no, it's so nice to have Ajahn to join us.
Yeah. Were you guys planning? Was this like a very spontaneous event, or?
It was a little bit spontaneous because for Ajahn, I guess he has more time now because they're restricting like monastery visits and stuff. So I just spoke to him, I think 2 weeks ago, and then Robert actually had the idea to invite him for the day sit that Karen organizes. And then he agreed. So it was a little bit spontaneous because he just agreed, I think, on Thursday. So.
Very good. So thank you for all the brilliant minds that put this together.
And he will come back?
Yeah, I think he's just gone to the washroom.
No. I mean, he will have another session with him.
Oh,
another time.
I haven't asked, but it seems like he has more time now. So I would imagine
I think we can ask at the end of the session.
Sure.
So I think Long Po also he now because also the stay-at-home order in Thailand, so he's not doing, because he used to be on Facebook quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
And so I think all of that has stopped. Is
yeah,
that right?
the 2 p.m. question and answer session, he's no longer doing that. So yeah, he has a lot more time.
Okay. And nobody's allowed to visit Wat Yan?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. I don't know how they're doing it, if it's nobody at all, but
okay.
Yeah.
But he's still going alms round outside.
I think they've asked him the alms round.
Oh, yeah.
He's come back.
Because I see photos of him on alms round, so I don't know if he's still.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. So, since there are many of you here, I'll be willing to continue on as long as you want me here. Okay. Yeah. All right, go ahead. Anybody else? Eddie? Who want to say? You?
Ajahn, you go to arms round every morning?
Yes, I had to stop for 1 month because of the safety due to somebody in the village was suspicious of contacting the virus. But after 2 weeks of isolation, that person didn't have any. But they asked us for, just for safety's sake, we stopped going on arms round for about 1 month. I only started on the 1st of May. You can go to my Facebook page and today we have a video of my arms round. You have to go to the Thai page where the video is posted. Ajahn Suchart in Thai, and then you just scroll down and there'll be posting a video of going on arms round this morning. So you can see the situation of the village is quite quiet. Not as many people as before, and we have to put masks on. Everybody has to put masks on. So. Okay, next.
Aaron here again.
Okay.
I have a question about practicing metta. Would practicing metta be suitable as one's fairly regular object of meditation? So having a base of mindfulness, whether it's mindfulness of what the body's doing, and say switching between focusing more on working with the breath, on observing the breath, and then at other times practicing metta, could that be considered an object of meditation?
Actually, I think metta is more useful or applicable when you involve with people. That's when you're supposed to use metta, love toward your fellow human beings and animals. And if you can once know how to apply this attitude toward other people, you might be able to use it in your meditation, and by just creating that feeling of love inside your mind. And this might be able to calm your mind also. But generally we use metta when we apply it when we meet people or animals. We don't want to hurt them. We want to befriend. We want to help. We want to make other people happy. Because by making other people happy, we become happy. We might become calm and become happy. But if you hate, then your mind will become agitated and not happy. So metta is used more when you deal with people socializing. But when you are alone, you don't need to use metta. You should use equanimity instead. Try to build equanimity by concentrating on your breath.
Okay, thank you very much.
Or you can use metta when you're angry at somebody, and you should say, I love this person. I should not be mad at this person. If I want to have metta, then I cannot be mad at this person. So I have to forgive this person. So this is what metta is about. Sometimes when you practice, sometimes the thought of somebody you don't like comes up, and you get angry, and you have to use metta to subdue your anger. That's what the purpose of metta is for. A remedy, an antidote to your anger. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's go see some of the people.
Hi, John. I just had another question, if you don't mind.
Yes.
I was just wondering if you're like trying to learn to get into like China, and you're relatively new, like you're trying to learn it. How long do you typically have to sit to get into that state? And is it typically something you would only do in a retreat?
I'm sorry, I could not. Your sound is not audible enough to understand what you're saying.
Okay, sorry. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, closer, better.
I was just wondering, like, you're just trying to learn how, like, the jhanas and stuff, and like first jhana. How long do you typically have to sit to get into that state? And is it something like that you can only really do in a retreat setting for lay people, or yeah, like I was just trying to get a better sense of like commitment and what's involved in that.
When you practice, when you meditate, the mind will move gradually from first jhana to second, to third, and fourth jhana. So you don't really have to check which jhana you are in right now. All you have to do is keep concentrating on your meditation object, such as your breath. And then this will lead your mind through the various jhanas until it gets to the fourth jhana. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. It's like driving your car. You don't have to worry about the speed at this moment and what you call the RPM of the engine at this moment. You just keep driving, and then the car will, the speed will keep changing, and the RPM will keep changing by itself. So you don't have to worry about it.
I just had like,
sorry.
Go ahead. I just had a follow-up. Like, is getting into jhana something like you can will? Like you can, I just want to make sure you can hear me, that you can will, or is it more like something that just arises when the condition?
You need concentration in order to get into jhana. You have to concentrate your mind on one object. And then eventually your mind will stop thinking. When you stop thinking, then you will have entered into the fourth jhana.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, Ajahn, can I ask more questions?
Please go ahead.
Okay. About the jhana, can someone who is not Buddhist and who do not know about sila and other factors to achieve jhana can achieve the jhana itself?
Jhana exists before Buddhism. Jhana was practiced long before Buddhism was established. The Buddha used jhana as the path to his enlightenment. First he studied jhana from teachers, from meditation teachers. But he found it not satisfactory because it doesn't solve his problem, which is dukkha. Jhana can only stop dukkha temporarily. But after withdrawing from jhana, the dukkha will come back again. So the Buddha then has to go search for another method, which will get rid of dukkha all the time. And he discovered the practice of vipassana. He discovered the Four Noble Truths and the three characteristics of existence, which then enabled him to know the cause of dukkha, which are the cravings. And he discovered the method that can eliminate the craving, which is the path, the noble eightfold path.
So, thank you, Ajahn. So does it mean that for enlightenment, the jhana factors plus vipassana are the must?
That's right. You need to become enlightened.
Okay, so if those who don't have a jhana but only practice vigorously in vipassana, they won't reach enlightenment too because they don't have the jhana.
Whatever enlightenment they wish, it just be purely in their imagination. Some people think they have attained such a level, but it's just a matter of their thinking, not reality. In reality, you have to know there's no dukkha in my mind. And to know this, you have to go through tests, not just merely sitting in a room and telling yourself, I am enlightened. The tests are that can you detach, let go of your body? Are you still afraid of aging, sickness, and death? These are the tests that will tell you whether you have become enlightened or not.
Okay, so vipassana and the jhana combination is a must. It cannot be standalone, both of them.
That's right. They're part of the Noble Eightfold Path.
Okay, thank you very much.
Vipassana is right view and right thinking.
Right.
And jhana is right mindfulness and right samadhi. So you need all the 8 factors in order to become enlightened.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Yeah, me too. Okay, Amy and JC.
Paul, I would like to ask, when you were a lay person, did you make special adhitan, like special determinations? And when you were a monk, did you make special determinations? To what extent do you think that they spur you on to your success?
I'm a person who hates to make resolution because every time I make resolution, I usually fail. So for me, I don't make resolution, I just make decision, what I'm going to do now. Then I just go on from there. Like when I was working, I made a decision to stop working, to meditate. I just keep on making new decision every time I move forward. But if I set up a resolution, I usually fail. So for me, it's not that it doesn't work for me to set up a resolution. I base my decision on the reality of the time. Can I do this or not? If I can, then I'll make the decision to do it. But I don't try to make resolution. I did make resolution. After I quit working, I tell myself I'm going to practice for 1 year as a lay person. Maybe that's a resolution. After 1 year, then I have to make a new resolution. I'm going to become a monk. And that's another resolution. I do step by step resolution. Okay.
Because I asked Lompo too, a lot of other ajahns, I hear that they encourage that when you go to the holy places or in your daily practice, you make these, adhitan, these determinations. And so I just wonder, obviously I think the right adhitan is to not get super wealthy and all that stuff, but just kind of how to utilize it as a good tool in our practice.
See, unfortunately, the word adhitan in Thai doesn't mean resolution. It means prayer. Pray for something. Most Thai Buddhists use adhitan as prayer, as to pray for something from the Buddha. This is not the right understanding, the right application of the word adhitan. The word adhitan means to set up a resolve, a goal, what to do with your life. Most Thai don't understand this. They thought adhitan means to pray for something. Pray for a husband, pray for a wife, pray for son or daughter. The adhitan, just like praying. That's all. Okay. People go to India and they pray for enlightenment. They don't get enlightenment by praying. They have to make resolution. I'm gonna become a monk or a mechi, and I'll devote the rest of my life to the practice of the Noble Eightfold Path. That's the resolution. But they don't do that. They pray, They give some dana, they give some charity, and they say, may I have nibbana as a result.
Because also, Long Paul, I hear that like some people, they make kind of like a deal. Like one time I hear a friend made a aditan, you know, her brother was very sick with cancer, and so made a aditan that, you know, if her brother gets well, she will be vegetarian for the rest of her life. So just kind of try to understand how to use it. Thank you.
Okay. Most Thai don't understand the word atitan. They thought it's praying. And when you pray, you have to also put on a bet. Like, if I win, I will pay this price. And this is not it. This is misrepresenting the word and the concept of atitan entirely.
Okay, thank you, Long Paul.
A lot of Thai Buddhists still have this misunderstanding of the wrong view of practice. They thought that you can pray for things. Or when in fact the Buddha said everything depends on your karma, on your action, not on what you ask for. It depends on what you do or what you did. Okay. Somebody else? Amy? Okay.
I have a question just carrying on this. When we do metta, isn't it a form of prayer and also becoming again?
That's what people make of it, see, but in reality it's not. It's a practice of sharing love to other people. And before you can do it, you have to teach yourself or remind yourself, I have to be metta. So they have verses that you chant, which means to forgive, to not hurt other beings, to make other beings happy. That's what the chanting that they chant. But people don't understand. They thought that this kind of chanting will somehow make themselves radiating love to other people. You don't. You can only radiate love when you see people, when you smile at people, when you give something to people, or when you forgive people when they did something wrong to you. This is radiating metta, not chanting. Chanting is a form of developing mindfulness and samadhi. You can chant, and then this can, when you meditate, you can chant the verses. And if you keep chanting, you stop thinking, and your mind becomes calmer and peaceful and happy. Okay?
So how do we walk the life while we do less of becoming, either good becoming or bad becoming? How to stay in the middle?
How to stay in the middle between good and bad action?
Yes. Because even the good actions are also, it's still not the middle path. So it's still a form of becoming. It's a form of rebirth again. So how do we walk this line without creating more karma?
You mean by being metta and not being metta?
Yes.
Okay. You apply metta at the time when you have to. Like when you're meeting people, you say hello. This is metta. You don't frown at people, because you want to make people happy. You want to share happiness, make people happy. And when you see people, you try to smile. Okay. Maybe not try, but really mean it. I want you to be happy, so I want to smile at you or say hello to you. Or if you have some gift, something that you want to share with other people, to make them happy. This is also metta. But if you find that they don't want what you give them, they don't want you to smile, then you can just stop. If they think you are faking it, okay, if you don't believe it, okay, fine. Next time I won't smile at you. Next time I won't give you any gift if you don't want it from me. But inside my mind, I will not be mad at you or angry at you. I still love you. I still want you to be happy. This is the real meaning of metta, love, loving kindness. But sometimes in applying it, you might not be able to do it because people might think you have some hidden motive and say, "Oh, he's being nice to me because he wants something from me." That's how people think in the West. When you smile, people they start to worry, what does this person want from me already, right? But in Thailand, we don't have that kind of understanding. When people smile, we really take it that they are smiling at you.
Can we send metta to all sentient beings and non-sentient? Let's say, can we even extend our metta to the viruses, to the diseases, to everything?
You only send metta to beings that has consciousness, that is capable of noticing your love. You don't give metta to a tree, to a car, or something like that. They have no consciousness. They don't know what to do toward them. You can give metta to animals. They have consciousness. They are aware of your kindness, your love. But you do it to a tree, you do it to a germ. They don't know. There's no consciousness of the viruses. They don't have any consciousness to be aware of what you do to them. All right. Okay. Next. Kiran Shabbat. Please go ahead. Say something. I cannot hear you. Can you turn on your microphone? I cannot. Oh. Somebody mute the microphone. Is Amy.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you, Ajahn. Just I'm telling you.
Okay. How about Kiran? I cannot hear him. Can you say something? Can you hear him? Kiran Shabbat. Can you hear him?
Kiran's mic is not working.
Kiran's mic.
I see. Okay, I'm sorry then. Your microphone is not working. Can you turn it on? Kiran or Kiran? Kiran. Shabbat.
So if you want, you can call me and ask through my phone.
Okay. I can see him and her sitting together and trying to say something, but somehow there's no sound coming from you.
So maybe Irfan, I think earlier you actually did not mute yourself, but maybe you did your computer, you didn't allow it to share it, or you didn't give the permission on the system level.
Yeah, there's a red microphone on the picture. That means it's not. Now it disappeared.
Oh,
it's
there.
connected. Okay. Okay, it's connected. Can you say something now? Karan, say something. Say no sound. It's off again. The microphone is off again. Well, we'll go to somebody else first, and maybe he can try to fix this problem. Anybody else? Pecky Cop? Peck? Okay.
Can I ask?
Okay, Deyanitio.
Oh, thank you, Ajahn. So this is the question from my son, my young adult son. So he was asking, why Buddha has hair while other monks has to be bald?
Oh, it's just an artistic rendering of the Buddha's image. That's all. In reality, the Buddha shaved his head just like other monks. Because he's a teacher, he tells us what to do, and he's not like somebody who said, do as I say, but not do as I do. The Buddha, whatever he tells people to do, he already did it before. So what you see of the Buddha images are just artistic rendering to make him look looks
different,
majestic.
I see. Yeah, because all the movies also shown that the Buddha has a knotted hair.
But all monks have to shave their head before they can become monks. They have to shave their head. And the Buddha shaved his head when he left the palace.
Okay, so in the real life, 2,600 years ago, Buddha was also a shaved hair.
Yes.
Features.
The one who started it. He was the one who started this tradition.
Right.
Buddhism started from the Buddha, and everybody else who follow his teaching has to shave his hair.
But there is no one monastic in the world that shown Buddha with the shaved head, though, Ajahn. Why don't they show that?
It's just out of tradition, I guess. It's somehow been rendering like this for a long time, so nobody dares to change it.
I see. Thank you very much, Ajahn, for the explanation.
Okay.
Hi, Prajan.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Okay, Zoom.
Great.
You go to a different computer, huh?
Yeah, I used my cell phone and went to a different room.
Okay, go ahead.
I have two questions, Prajan. First question is, I basically have two goals in life right now. One of them is to create wealth, and the other one is to make progress in the Dhamma. And while in the long term, I have an idea of how these two can actually support one another, the first one actually supporting the second one. In a day-to-day level, I find that sometimes it can feel like they're working at cross purposes. For creating wealth, there's a certain kind of becoming that the mind inclines towards, and then I almost have to undo that during my Dhamma practice throughout the day. So I was wondering if there are examples that you can point me to in history, or any tips and tricks that you could advise that can help me more skillfully approach these two goals together. Someone who's created a lot of wealth in their lives, but even more progress in their spiritual practice.
I don't think that's possible because these two goals are poles apart. One goes to the North Pole and the other goes to the South Pole. Maybe at the start, maybe the two goals might still can be able to go together. If you're still working and you find that you cannot stop working, then you might be able to do this thing in tandem. You work during the week, and during the weekend you go to a meditation retreat. But eventually you're gonna have to jettison one or the other. You cannot take them both. If you want to take the spiritual path, you have to give up your material or physical path. You cannot go together. Look at the Buddha as an example. He has to renounce his princely life and became a monk in order to be able to advance in the spiritual path. Okay? Maybe there's a misunderstanding on your part. Saying that, okay. But there are actually two different poles, two different destinations. One going north and one going south. All right.
So then if I'm understanding, the idea is you can only choose to go to one direction at a time. You can't go to two directions.
But at the start, if you you still cannot stop your old, you cannot get out of your old path, then you try to maybe get out temporarily, like on the weekend. During the week, you go to work and make money, and then during the weekend, you go to a meditation retreat to develop mindfulness and peace of mind. But as you advance in your spiritual path and you want to slow or lessen your material path, and eventually you will then switch entirely to the spiritual path. Because you can compare the results from both paths. which one is better. The material path will always have all sorts of anxiety and worries with you. While the spiritual path, you have no such thing as anxiety or worry. You have peace and happiness.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My second question, Ajahn, sometimes I find interest in prophecies about what's going to happen in the future as a way to create some kind of certainty in the mind, and also to prepare my actions, and at times arouse a sense of samvega. And I was wondering if there are any prophecies that you are aware of about the future in our lifetime that you might share.
Yes, the Buddha has been telling us all the time, aging, sickness, and death. That's our future. It's something that we try to forget. But that's a real future for us that we should try to prepare ourselves for. We're all going to have to get old. We're all going to have to get sick, and we're all going to have to die. But the Buddha teaches us how to be able to cope with this situation in a way that will not hurt the mind. That is the practice of meditation, samatha bhavana and vipassana bhavana. Then you can prepare your mind to face this eventuality without any fear, without any anxiety, without any suffering. Okay?
Thank you.
That's the real future we tend to forget. Or we forget most of the time. We don't want to think about the truth. We want to think about something that's not true, or possibly true. Like all the prophets that are trying to tell. We're gonna have flood. We're gonna have calamity, or earthquake, and so forth. We like something like that because we
Thank
don't
you,
want something. We don't want something fixed, something real. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Ajahn,
Yes.
Ajahn, may I
Please.
ask one more question?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so about the posture in meditation, I was advised that it's best to follow what Sutta says about the posture in meditation. However, in one of the retreat that I attended, the instruction was to observe the rising and the rising up and down of the stomach wall. So can you explain more about this, Ajahn? Thank you.
Watching the abdomen is a variation of anapanasati. When you breathe in, your abdomen will expand, and when you breathe out, your abdomen will collapse. That's all. So you can watch the abdomen instead of watching the breath coming in and out at the tip of your nose. It's just a variation of anapanasati.
So
you can focus your mind at. Sometimes you can feel your abdomen rising and falling. So you can use the abdomen as your point of focus instead of the tip of your nose.
So I understand that is also mentioned in the sutta, the abdomen wall.
I'm not sure. I haven't seen it. I think it's just a teacher and Ajahn who somehow apply it in his practice, and he found it useful, so he teaches to other people.
Okay. So in that case, in the duration of our meditation, we can always switch from breathing to stomach wall and to any other thing that to take our minds back.
When you meditate, you should try to stay fixed on one object. Don't try to move it back and forth. Because by moving back and forth, you are moving the mind also. So the mind cannot be calm that way. So when you start watching the breath, you should stick to watching the breath. at the tip of your nose. If you watch your abdomen, then you keep watching at the abdomen. Try to focus, concentrate only on one point, on one object. Don't change the object of your meditation. Like riding a horse, you don't switch horse in the middle of the race, right? You stick
Yeah.
with the horse you started with.
Even like for the metta meditation, I like to combine it like watching breath and towards the end is metta, and then after metta I like to continue again watching breath. I mean, is that allowed to do that?
There's nothing to prohibit you to do anything, but it won't give you the result that you should get, that's all. Which is concentration or absorption in the fourth jhana. That's where you want to go in your practice of meditation.
Okay.
But if you're not interested to get to that point, then you can switch, do whatever you like. You can chant metta, and then you can come back to your breath, do whatever you want. But your mind is you're running around like a monkey. It won't be calm.
So the best is just to stick in one method throughout.
That's right. If you want your mind to become peaceful and calm, then you have to stick to one object.
Right. Thank you very much, Ajahn. Namo Buddhaya.
Okay. Anybody else? What do you say, Anika, moderator? It seems like everybody's gone home or something, no picture of it.
I think there's still 33 here, but
They just turn off the camera, I guess.
yeah. But you've been very generous with your time with us. Thank you so much.
About another 4 or 5 minutes to end up the session.
Sure, sure.
Okay. It's been over 2 hours now. It's 2 hours and 12 minutes. So let's give another question to anybody who wants to ask.
Okay.
Okay, final question. When I used to go to bars, they said, this is the final drinks. Only your final drinks.
I think...
You'll take it? Okay, and then I think everybody wants to go home and to rest. So maybe we should then consider this.
There's one more.
Yeah, I think Pecky is trying to unmute.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
กราบนมัสการค่ะท่านอาจารย์
Okay.
ค่ะเป็นครั้งแรกที่เพิ่งได้พบ
You
ท่าน
have
อา
to
จาร
speak
ย์นะคะ
English. You have to speak English because other people are listening.
Okay, my English is not good, but I like, I like to bow with you, and then this is my first time. Last time I like to ask you about what the body that อบรม mean อบรม and and how different and the mind was been อบรมtoo, but I think ท่านอาจารย์just explain for the other one that I understand for this time, and I like to vouch you for this time too.
Nice talking to you. Where are you staying right now?
San Diego, California ค่ะ
San Diego.
Yes ค่ะ
So you're close to Ajahn Jeff's monastery. Wat Metta.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Is he there now or is he somewhere else?
Right now he stay in Wat Metta, and yesterday we talk like this too ค่ะ Yes.
Give my respect to him. Did you see
Yes.
him?
Okay. Yeah, I will.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, Anita, you think we can consider this the end of our conversation?
Yes, thank you so much, Ajahn, for taking so much time to speak with us today. And yeah, there's people here from all over the world, so
I'm very happy to have such a wide audience. It's amazing. And I wish we could go on forever, but I think it comes in. So maybe we can do it again the next time.
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you for attending. And happy to see all of you.
Thank you so much.
And
thank you.
I hope that you are all safe from this virus.
Thank you.
Be healthy, be strong and happy, and advance on the path to Nibbana.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ajahn. Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you, Ajahn. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. By the way, when you finish, you have the file. Can you send it to me? Either where are you gonna post it on Google Drive or where?
We can send it to you, and I'll ask what you think.
Okay, whichever way you can. Okay, then I can then post it on the Facebook page. Okay, thank you.
See you next time.
Thank you, Ajahn. Namo Buddhaya.
See you next time.
That was great. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Thanks, Anita.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Muito obrigado, Anita. Muito obrigado, Kiran, por terem feito essa reunião para a gente. Muito obrigado.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anita. See you soon.
See you soon.